all summer long, I said, I think Joe Flacco should be your starting quarterback, but if you start losing, then you have to turn things over to see what you have in Dylan Gabriel. And eventually, the toxic turning point of every sports conversation, Shedeur Sanders, because no matter what you say about Shedeur Sanders, someone's going to say you are bat-bleep crazy for thinking that.
I'm currently battling a cold, so please be patient with me for a little while. But I would like to share my thoughts on Trey Wingo and Shedeur Sanders. If you all recall, Trey Wingo was a former ESPN personality. He worked as an analyst. Without a question, one of my favorites.
He's the only quarterback that can make that throw. He's the only guy that could bring you back from 24 points down. They were down twice by 10 points to Tennessee in the second quarter, and they still had the lead at the half. That ain't happening with Alex Smith, man.
And he didn't mince words when he had the opportunity to comment on the entire Shedeur Sanders discussion on Fan 923 Cleveland Radio. I'm going to play the clip now, and I'll definitely return to comment later.
Trey Wingo joining us on the show. So what do you think is the truth about Shedeur then?
I don't know, and anybody that says they know is lying. That's the bottom line.
Well, maybe they're just wrong. Could they just be wrong?
Yeah, well, right, but I mean, but if you, yes, they could be wrong. But if you say you know, based on what? What are you basing it on?
Gut feeling, to be honest with you. That's about as far as it is.
There it is. There is no empirical data to suggest that he's going to be great or that he's going to be terrible, right? Let's go, and people will say, well, he was the highest-rated college accuracy quarterback of all time. I went through the list. Do you want to go through the list of the most accurate college quarterbacks of all time?
Yeah, honestly, yes, please.
Okay, I got to find it, but it's for example, there's only, of the top 20, there's only 2 guys that you would say, wow, for sure.
Are there like 2 Hawaiian quarterbacks on there?
Yeah, Colt Brennan, Colt Nose, Graham Harrell. I mean, there's a couple of guys I've never even heard of. Now, Joe Burrow is the 12th most accurate quarterback in college football history, and Baker Mayfield was the 15th. That's it. Out of the top 20, those are the only ones that were surefire successes or have been surefire successes in the NFL. Right. And oh, by the way, Baker took a while to get there. And then people will also say, well, he won the John Unitas Award. Go look at the winners of the John Unitas Award. It's not exactly a list of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Now, I want to be clear to people who are now driving into a bridge abutment by listening to me say this in Cleveland, okay? You need to listen to what I'm saying. I'm not suggesting he's going to be terrible. I'm suggesting I don't know. And anybody that says they know is wrong or is purposefully being misleading because there is no information to back up your point.
Because no one is implying that Shedeur Sanders will become one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time or that he'll come in and light it up. I believe Trey Wingo is arguing in bad faith. People might think that, and that makes them no different from any other first-round pick or someone who is predicted to be selected in the first round. First place overall, or at least in the top 10. Shedeur supporters think that's where he stands, just like any other quarterback who is predicted to reach that height. Trey Wingo ought to be aware of this as well. I think he is aware of that. For this reason, I think his argument is made in poor faith. And you must ask yourself, why?
Headlines from today already. Trey Wingo now.
He's not wrong about, okay, so it's real quick. It's Shedeur, Colt Brennan, Colt McCoy. They had a nice career. Kellen had a nice career as a backup. Kellen Moore, Graham Harrell, Grayson McCall, North Carolina State.
Sure.
Remember him?
Absolutely.
Will Rogers, Brandon Whedon, Case Keenum, Chase Holbrook. That's the top 10.
So you cannot look at me and say, well, he was the number one in this, and then say, well, that's why he's going to be successful. Because read those names again for everybody.
I can't just stop. And by the way, you might lose me for the rest because I'm reading all these names, and now it's just nostalgia all over the place.
It is.
I'm like, oh, man, Seth Doge, all the way down to Greg Ward. Oh, my gosh, goodbye.
One of the greatest. So the only thing I'm trying to get across to people here is you cannot use that as a data point to ensure his success. Now, it doesn't mean he's not going to be successful. I need people to understand that. But when you say that and you say, the Unitas Award winner, it's not a surefire thing in any way, shape, or form. It's not. So nobody knows, okay? Nobody knows. There's no reason. There's nothing to suggest he's going to be great. There's nothing to suggest he's going to be terrible. We won't know until we play him. And then you got to figure it out. Now, why aren't they playing him? I believe, like is in most cases, when you draft someone higher, you give them more opportunities because you have more of an investment in that player. They have more of an investment in Dillon Gabriel because they took him in the 3rd round instead of the 5th round. Now it's up for a lot of people to decide when that investment they think should be banked and turned to something else, and I think it's fair to have that discussion. But that a guy, people like, I actually heard people say they're not being fair to Shedeur. Like, what are you talking about? What does fair have to do with anything? They made an investment in somebody else, right? They made, when Kirk Cousins was taken in the 4th round in 2012 and RG3 was taken 2nd overall, did Kirk get a lot of first team reps? Absolutely not, because they had an investment, bigger investment in the other player. Now, as it turns out, Kirk Cousins had a much better career than RG3. But that doesn't mean the then Redskins and now Commanders were wrong to invest all that time and effort in a guy that they had picked higher. It's the way it works. And the fact that people can't understand that is really beyond me.
Yes, that does sound personal. And it sounded personal to many of the listeners. To pretend that we aren't actually witnessing Dillon Gabriel perform as he does every week, he's the league's worst quarterback in terms of statistics. Additionally, no one had him in the 3rd round when he was selected. He was put to the test in the 6th or 7th round. He had no one traveling over Shedeur. Therefore, the situation is entirely different from what he's attempting to explain. He's attempting to pretend that Dillon Gabriel was a better prospect right out of college, even though everyone will tell you otherwise.
This is Dillon Gabriel's final scouting report from Pro Football Focus. Let's take a look at his weaknesses. Gabriel's measurables: height, weight, wingspan, hand, etc. All in the 35th percentile of the lower among quarterbacks. That's quite a barrier developing into a successful NFL signal caller. He'll be a significant disadvantage, and some teams may even be scared off drafting him on their boards. I had to cherry pick this to find a 4th or 5th round grade. Most of them were 6th or 7th or undrafted. Now, I quickly want to go and juxtapose it so we don't miss this with one Shedeur Sanders. Can we look at this? Let's look at his strengths. This is all PFF. This is the same publication. Now, when you look at Dillon Gabriel's, if you were to switch this Shedeur Sanders for Dillon Gabriel, don't it seem like they just switch their body? Accuracy. His biggest strength is his accuracy. Ball placement, catchability is among the best. PFF charts the ball placement on every throw made by college quarterbacks, and Sanders finished 2024 with the 3rd highest accuracy rate and the 5th lowest rate of uncatchable throws in FBS. Let that sink in. 2, avoiding turnovers. For the people that say he plays street ball and he just doesn't know how to get out the huddle on time, avoiding turnovers. Sanders handled the most dropbacks under pressure in FBS, nearly 20 more than the 2nd most. Even when he didn't have the time, he showed the ability to stand and deliver in crowded pockets. Sanders' 86.9 PFF passing rate when under pressure with time to throw under 2.5 seconds, rate 3rd in college football.
And Trey Wingo is aware of this once more. He works in the sports industry. He most likely knows more than we do. He is therefore arguing in bad faith. You have to ask why, like I mentioned. He and Kevin Sinansky may attend the same church. Perhaps their children attend the same school. With some of these people, you never know. You never know what kind of personal interests and biases these media professionals may have. However, a lot of others who heard this responded similarly because, while I won't say Trey Wingo is famous, many of us grew up with him. He has experience with ESPN. He has a long history in the sports industry. Additionally, it looked a little out of place for him to approach Shedeur fans out of the blue and rather uninvited. However, they're my opinions. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to get some Roman Tuscan or anything to drink. Attempt to recover from this cold. Additionally, please click the subscribe button for me if you haven't already and you've been enjoying the content on this channel thus far. Peace and anarchy, as usual.